Hello everybody, it's your pal Super here, and it's Pride Month, yay! It's a great time, and every year I've tried to make some celebratory Pride art, but I've never actually posted the things I've made. But this year, I decided to change that, and I wanted to do something a little different. You might know what scratch pad art is, but it's basically art that's meant to look like those magic erase or scratch pad books that have a gradient underneath. And by scratching out the design, you get an artwork that has this cool gradient pattern on it. I hope I explained that well enough. But anyway, that's the type of artwork I wanted to do for this video. But with the gradients being colors of different pride flags, featuring my characters that relate to them because 95% of my characters are queer in some way. I try to include as many flags or as many things as I can, but I'm sorry if I didn't get your flag in here. I ran out of time and I couldn't do as much as I wanted to, but it's fine. I might do this again next year, so maybe I'll do those then. Also, before I begin, I would like to say that hi, I'm also a part of this community. I'm non-binary, more accurately agender, and I go by they, them, and of course, Hiba. So yeah, that's with that, let's get started. Now for these, I'm not going to talk too much in depth about them, mostly because I didn't have much to say, and also I'm working on this video later than I would have liked to, and I didn't script out most of it, and I don't have much time to work on it, so yeah. As you can see, I worked on these in IBS Paint X, so the speed paint is going to look a bit different. I started with a classic rainbow with my OC, Chris. Chris is the main character for one of the stories I'm working on called Guardian Angels, and he's a good boy who likes to dress effeminately. I don't know if I said that right. And to create these, I used the colors of the flag to make a gradient. I blended the colors with an airbrush for a good few of these. After that, I made a new layer on top of the gradient and filled it in with black. Then I made a sketch in white on a new layer and erased the black layers based on the sketch. For these, I used a textured eraser, which is called the Soft Turnip Pen in IBS Paint X, which is also the pen I use for most of my line arts in this app. I would try outlining the design in a sketchy way to get the scratch art appeal, and I did a little bit of hatching for shading and hair highlights. At first, that's all I was going to do, but I decided to go over it with a soft eraser to make the highlights pop and add a bit more depth. I used the marker eraser tool for this, and did this for the background too. And yeah, I wanted this to feel very ethereal. Chris is a guardian angel, but guardian angels are a bit different than the normal concept of guardian angels are. But I'll probably talk about the story of guardian angels in a different video. But I just wanted to have that feeling for this one, and so I had to draw his wings, which were kind of hard because I was doing this all on basically one layer. So I couldn't copy and paste the wings over, so that was kind of hard to do, but that's okay. That's pretty much it for this one. And I like how this piece turned out, and I think it was a good start for this whole thing. So yeah, the next one I worked on was the trans pride flag. Again, I just used the airbrush tool to blend the colors, but I later used the smudge tool to spread the colors a bit more because most of the design was in the center and was only getting like 2 of the colors. So yeah, I used my character Lai, which you're probably familiar with if you watch this channel. Lai is a trans guy, and I have made trans related artwork with him before in this one, which I forgot to post anywhere, but I still really like how it turned out, so you get to see it now. For this one, I wanted a flowery design with flowers coming from his chest as well as swirls of light. This was the artwork I decided to use the marker tool for at first to create the illusion of light. This was fun to draw because of all the flowers, and as you can see, I also decided to put some flowers into his hair and in his eye for symbolism. I used a different eraser for the swirls, but I forgot what it's called. But I like how this one turned out despite some of the colors not showing through. But I always love drawing Lai, drawing my boy, which is why I draw him literally all the time. I have so many other characters that I should draw. Most of them are in comics that I should be drawing more of, but if somehow Lai he's just my favorite, and I love him. He's a good boy. Well, not a good boy. He's very much not a good boy, but he's there. We love him. We love Lai. And I've talked about him before in other videos of mine, of course, and you can go check those out if you would like to. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this one. I always love the colors of the trans pride flag just because pink and blue, and hey, if you look closely at my Sona design, you might be able to see some similarities. Did I do that on purpose? Maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. The next one was for non-binary, which is of course one I'm very familiar with. For this one, I decided to draw my character Leo, who is an extremely chill kind of exorcist, but also not really because they're more of a monster slayer, but they're called exorcists. It's complicated. But yeah, they're very chill, very laid back. I think I've talked about them before in another video featuring them. This one at first seemed pretty simple, but actually took a bit because of the posing and stuff. But I just wanted to draw Leo in a chill pose with a simple background. I do kind of wish I played around with the concept a bit more, but I'm not upset with the outcome, so it's all good. And yeah, for this one, basically the pose was the thing that took a bit to figure out, and the scenery was all pretty simple. But for this one, I think I used the marker tool more in this one, in their hair and stuff, just to add a lot more depth into it. And I also used the marker tool to create a night and day effect with the colors. So one side has a sun on it, and that's what's the main light source, and the other sides have some stars, some faint little stars, because of the purples on the other side, creating more of a nighttime effect. And I like that effect. The only thing about this flag is that since it has black in it already, part of it didn't quite show through, but that's okay. It's sort of like a fading effect, if you will. But yeah, I also like Leo a lot. I love them a lot. I have a lot of non-binary characters. Leo's probably the one with the most chill design out of any of my non-binary characters, which suits them quite well. So yeah, I hope you liked this one as well. For all my fellow NBs out here, I hope you enjoyed it. The next one was for gay men, or MLM. I decided to draw my two characters, Ricky and Blank, who you might recognize as two of the main characters from Mysteries of Dysteria. I also decided to draw them kissing, and I'm not good at drawing kissing, so I'm sorry if this looks bad. For the gradient in this one, I decided to blend the gradient differently by using the marker tool to create a more painterly effect. And I think this turned out quite well. I can't really see it too much, but I think it just adds a bit more of a different effect with the gradient. Again, not too much to talk about for this one. I had to adjust the kissing a bit and the anatomy on this, because the anatomy is really hard. I'm not good at drawing profiles anyway, so that also is kind of a crutch on this one. But I liked it. I loved drawing Ricky's flowy hair. Whenever I draw him in artworks, I try to give him long flowy hair. You also might notice that I have drawn them in their more humanoid designs instead of their animaka designs. They're both wolf animakas. Well, technically, Blank is sort of more ambiguous of an animaka design. Ricky's the wolf one. But yeah, I just decided to draw them more humanoid because it's easier to draw profile views in this way. And I just I went way more crazy on the background on this one. I added like some sort of like bubble effects, almost like underwater, with some swirly designs with the marker tool. And this one actually ended up a bit more filled out almost. It seems like way more, it's got more stuff in it basically, and I think that looks pretty cool. But yeah, and it also turned out very nice and shiny looking. That's pretty much all I have to say with this one as well. If you are reading Mysteries of Dysteria, perhaps this will become canon. Who knows? I don't know. I do know because I'm writing this story currently. Yeah, the next one was for the lesbian pride flag, and I decided to draw my two characters, Willow and Amelia. Willow and Amelia are also a part of the Guardian Angel story, and basically they're both angels. Willow is a Reaper angel, which are they're based off of crows. Again, there's a whole storyline with that. And Amelia is a healing angel, so she has the ability to heal. And this one, I wanted a much more complicated pose, so I actually had to sketch like stick figures first to figure out what the posing would look like, and then draw them based off of that. And it was a bit complicated because I wasn't sure how to draw Amelia's head without half of it being obscured by Willow's hair. Also, if you hear my cat eating, I am so sorry for that. He eats in the same room that I record, and it can be very loud. So I'm sorry if you can hear that. This is the second drawing out of this whole roster that features wings, and I gave them both one wing each. This is supposed to sort of parallel that one bird. The bird where like there has to be 2 birds involved in order to fly, because only each one of them only has 1 wing, and typically it's like one is a female and one is a male, and they need each other to fly. But this time I decided to make it gay, because everything's better when it's gay. And yeah, the posing was a bit more complicated in this one, because it was, but I'm slowly getting better at drawing anatomy, specifically my legs and arms, which I always have felt like I've always drawn them kind of flat before, but I'm finding different ways in order to make those look better. But yeah, a bit more about Willow and Amelia. Willow is very eccentric, she's very energetic, and she's very a go-getter kind of person, and Amelia is very calm and gentle, and she loves Willow very much, and they love each other very much because they're so sweet and so lovable. They go through a bit of a hard patch in the story, a bit of a rough time, but they get through it. It's all good. It's all good, and I actually really like how this one turned out. It's a bit simpler than the last one as far as background wise goes. As far as posing wise goes, very much not so. So I think that makes up for it. And yeah, the next one is for the bisexual flag, featuring my character Haiku. This one was the simplest out of any of them, because I literally just drew Haiku in a pose. That was pretty much it. I was running out of ideas and time, and please forgive me, I didn't know what else to do. But I do like how it turned out. The colors were a bit darker than I thought they would be, so the gradient doesn't show up as much as the other ones, which is a bit strange, but I do like the colors. And for Haiku, I've talked about her extensively by introducing my Haiku's Magical World characters from the comic Haiku's Magical World, which you should go read and watch that video, and watch this video as well, that'd be great. But yeah, Haiku's bisexual, and for this one I just decided to draw Haiku in a normal pose. But I also wanted to draw her with the flame effects around her, which was actually pretty fun to draw. Very simple, but effective. I just used the marker tool on a harder density and just drew some swirly designs around her that resembled fire. Very simple, but it turned out really well, and I think that looked really cool. And again, I'm sorry that this one was like the most simplest concept out of any of them. Like I said, I was running out of time and ideas, and it's just how it is. It's just how it is, man. But in the end of the day, I still think it looks pretty cool. It's a cool little portrait shot, and I think it looks specifically cooler with the colors, the bi-colors. I think a lot of the pride flag colors are really cool together. Like I mentioned, I like the trans flag colors a lot, the non-binary flag colors, which kind of resembles night and day. I like the monochromatic ones for the gay pride flag and the lesbian pride flag, and for this one I like how it looks because it's cyberpunk, and I like cyberpunk a lot. But yeah, I also decided to blend the gradient on this one differently. I sort of did more of a circular, almost like I'm not sure what to call it, like a bullseye effect, like on targets, and I think that turned out pretty well. It did definitely show more of the colors this way, and yeah, I think it turned out really well. That's pretty much all I have to say for this one, because again, it was the most simplest and I didn't have much time for it. And finally, we are on our last one, which is the asexual pride flag. For this one, the gradient, I decided to go way more painterly and actually use like a brush that has like a stroke effect on it that looks like actual paint strokes, and I think that turned out really well. I decided to use my character Melody here. I don't think I've talked about Melody much. She was in an animation that I made a while ago, but Melody she's very kind of close offish sort of person, and she doesn't talk much, but she's just actually really shy and a cinnamon roll, but she seems intimidating when you first meet her, but she's just not talkative and kind of shy. But for this one it was surprisingly complicated, not like complicated to draw, but complicated like composition wise, especially because I literally I drew this on the very same day that I'm recording this and editing this, so it's kind of last minute, but I do like how it turned out a lot. I decided to draw Melody looking at a little butterfly bug thing in a patches of flowers flowers, and I did decide to draw a bit of a background behind her as well. And yeah, despite the more complicated composition for this one, it actually didn't take that long to draw, and I like how it turned out. I like drawing Melody a lot. She has a very distinct look like to her, so that's very fun to draw. I do kind of want to redesign her soon, just because there are a couple of things that I wish I had added to her before, but the story that she's going to be in, Secrets of Evangelion, she's the main character for that. I don't plan on working on anytime soon, so I have plenty of time to figure all that out beforehand. But yeah, drawing the flowers was interesting. I wasn't quite sure how to go about it at first, so I just kind of waited to do that and worked on Melody first, but I basically just drew a bunch of flower designs. Also, this is the second one featuring flowers. I just realized that this is also the second one featuring flowers. Bit of theming going on here. But basically, I just drew a bunch of simple flowers. I tend to do that a lot, just like non-detailed, very messy flowers. And drawings featuring a lot of flowers, and I think it turned out pretty well. I used the marker effect again to add more highlights and shading, and a bit of a glow effect to the bug thing, and I also added it to add in more like of a painterly design in the background, and that's pretty much it with this one. It turned out really nice. I tried having it so that the gradient would go into like the flowers a bit more, and that some of the colors wouldn't get lost, because that's what I was noticing with a lot of the flags so far, is that some of the colors would get lost due to the layout of the composition. But I think I finally got it figured out with this one. So yeah, this was the last one, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't get to anyone else's. I'm so sorry to my fellow pansexuals and panromantics, aromantics, agenders, everyone. I'm so sorry, but I hope I will get to you guys next time. Probably it doesn't have to even be a year from now. It could be like a few months from now. I don't know. I'll probably procrastinate on this so long that it'll probably take a year for me to get back to it again. But yeah, if you had enjoyed these artworks, don't feel free to like the video to show your appreciation, because that'd be great. It's Pride Month after all, so that would be much appreciated. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. All my artworks and socials will be linked below. I have all my artworks on my Instagram, and of course I have my 3 comics: Lost Hearts, Mysteries of Dysteria, and Haiku's Magical World. Mysteries of Dysteria is still ongoing, updating every other Friday. Haiku's Magical World is actually on a bit of a hiatus right now because the first chapter just finished. It was much shorter than I thought it would be to upload all of them, so it might take me a bit to get the next chapter ready to upload again. But I will be changing that one to be uploading every other Wednesday, because I realized every Wednesday was a bit much. So yeah, but with that, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.